Welcome on in everyone. Thanks for joining today's webinar. And just to get us warmed up, if you could type in the chat, let us know where you're listening from. This is the CIGRE Canada NGN webinar, but we have people from all over joining, so we'd be interested to hear where you're calling in from. Hey, Annie from Toronto. And just while you're doing that, I'll introduce a bit about what is the NGN. Well, NGN stands for the Next Generation Network. We're affiliated with CIGRE and specifically CIGRE Canada. The goal of the NGN is to help bring a new generation of power system professionals into the world of CIGRE. So we deliver a platform, whether you're just starting out your career straight from school or transitioning from other industries, other types of sectors. We give you a platform to feel comfortable sharing your ideas. You can interact with other people in the industry, and also about getting involved with CIGRE, including working groups and technical events, which is what this whole webinar is about today. And so I'll introduce our moderator, who is Malsha Anakage. There we go. 2 tries only. She's a power engineer from Transgrid Solutions in Manitoba. And she's also a member of our CIGRE Canada NGN technical committee. She focuses on technical sessions and communications. So over to you, Malsha.
Thanks, Curtis. So thank you all for joining the webinar. This is CIGRE NGN's first webinar of the year called Accelerate Your Career with CIGRE. So it's my pleasure to be hosting this session, and I hope that you all come out of this inspired and have all your CIGRE related questions answered. I find that one of the best ways to learn about something is by talking with those who have experience. And why? It's because you get to hear firsthand about the benefits and challenges that they've experienced. And also you can directly ask your questions to them. So today we're bringing to you 3 industry professionals, Phil Gray, Vinay Sudhian, Sumek Elamban, each covering a range of experiences. So whether you're looking to contribute to a working group, have a role in a study committee, present your research at a conference, or if you're looking for opportunities to learn and network with others, you've come to the right place, and these 3 speakers will have a lot to share with you. So I'm just going to get into their bios so you can learn a little bit about who they are and their background. Hopefully that inspires some questions for you guys too. So Phil received his bachelor's and master's degrees from the University of Toronto in 2010 and 2013 respectively. From 2012 to 2013, he was a visiting researcher at ABB Corporate Research in Västerås, Sweden. From 2014 until 2017, Philippe was a system design engineer at General Electric in Stafford, UK, working on HVDC transmission schemes. He is currently doing a PhD. He is currently a PhD candidate in electrical engineering, specializing in power electronics at the University of Toronto. Phil is a CIGRE student member and was awarded the Best Student Paper Award at CIGRE Canada Conference in 2014 and won the CIGRE Paris sponsorship in 2020. Now to Vinay. Vinay obtained the Master's and Masters of Science degree from KU Leuven and the PhD degree from Delft University of Technology, both in the field of electrical power engineering. He is an expert on power system stability and grid integration studies and currently holds the role of European Power System Planner in the Global Transmission Strategy team of Shell Renewable Energy Solutions. Between 2013 and 2022, he was on the Dutch-German transmission system operator TenneT, focusing on the technical impact assessment of energy transition on system operation and on the development of new concepts and methodologies for maintaining operational security. From 2016 to 2020, he was the technical secretary of CIGRE's International Study Committee on Power System Operation and Control, and currently serves as a member on CIGRE Electra's editorial board. In 2021, Dr. Sudin was elevated to senior member of IEEE, and as a recognition of his technical, strategic, and administrative contributions to CIGRE, Vinay was awarded the 2021 Technical Council Award and the 2021 Next Generation Network Significant Performance Award. He is an active member of CIGRE and IEEE, contributing to several technical working groups. And to our last speaker, Sumik Eleman, he is a lead applications engineer at RTDS Technologies in Manitoba, Canada. RTDS Technologies is the world leader in real-time power system simulation. Sumik joined RTDS in 2011 after receiving his bachelor's degree in electrical engineering from the University of Manitoba, where he was awarded the Faculty of Engineering Gold Medal. His main role is in research and development, training, commissioning, and technical support for the RTDS simulator. He has conducted over 60 training and commissioning projects all around the world. His experience is in simulation modeling of HVDC, power electronics, and renewable applications. He is actively involved in CIGRE since 2014, having contributed to several DC groups in the field of DC system and power electronics. He is a registered professional engineer in the province of Manitoba. So that's everyone's bio. It's pretty impressive. So now that you know a little bit about the speakers, I'll just go over a few details about the panel session. So I'm going to start by asking a few questions from the three speakers. And then after that, we'll open the panel session to questions from the audience. So if you have any questions at any time, you can directly message me or Curtis in the chat box, so a direct message, and we will get to those questions in the Q&A. Or if you prefer to ask your questions in person, then you can keep those questions in mind and wait till the Q&A session, and you can just raise your hand and ask them directly. So whichever way is best for you works for us. Okay. Yes, and then after that, at the hour, we will break into a networking session where we can unmute our mics and just casually network with each other and get to know each other and ask any further questions. So that being said, during the panel session, please make sure your mics are muted. And yeah, let's get started. Okay, so I know I covered a lot in the bio, but Phil, could you give more details on what opportunities CIGRE has afforded you?
Sure. So the two main opportunities have been the CIGRE Paris conference, as well as the CIGRE Canada conference. So CIGRE Paris conference, I got that opportunity through the sponsorship award. It's a really great program, so I would recommend checking it out. But CIGRE Paris, one of the reasons I was particularly interested in going is that it can be very difficult to get access to, like when you're in the academic space, it can be difficult to get access to more industry-specific information. Usually that's guarded by the companies, and by attending these more industrial type focused conferences, you can learn about kind of various problems that various manufacturers are having. And also kind of trends, so where the industry is moving. So there's a lot of interesting information that you can get from attending these conferences. Also, at least in my area of HVDC, all the major HVDC vendors were there at CIGRE Paris, GE, Toshiba, Siemens, ABB. So it's a good opportunity to see what kind of products they might have, meet with them. There might be job opportunities. Especially in this field, it can be very difficult to find people with relevant experience. So so I imagine if you had relevant experience and you were able to, speak with some people, who knows, there could be some interesting opportunities that come about. The other thing is CIGRE Canada conference. So that's a little bit different. It's more specific to Canada, but it's also there are international people that do attend. I guess for me, I had a couple of papers at CIGRE Canada 2014. it's a good experience to present, and also you never know who might be coming to your poster and speaking with you. And I was able to get a contact at Hydro-Quebec from attending CIGRE Canada. And there's also a lot of companies that are represented there that are operating within Canada. So if you're looking for Canadian-specific opportunities, attending CIGRE Canada conference could be helpful for you. And also, I think, I'm not sure, but if you're a student, you might have free, you might be able to attend for free the CIGRE Canada conference, if I'm not mistaken. It's something to check out at least. So.
Yeah, I love that you said that, like, you know, when you're in academics, you are so focused on the research and studies that, you know, when you go into the real world, you may not have as much of that industry experience, but these conferences allow you to kind of have a good idea of what challenges and problems the world is facing with HVDC and whatever area you're interested in. So yeah, that's really good. I love, that's a cool opportunity. So now I'll ask Vinay the same question. What opportunities can you go into detail?
I think as Philip mentioned, there's a lot of benefits to attending attending these conferences. You meet people, you discuss the quality of your work with people if you have papers, so that's good. But for myself, I mean, in my experience, I started my CIGRE activity as a working group member first, and then immediately after as the technical secretary of study committee C2. Now, of course, I consider myself very lucky that I could enter already in this position, and I'm very thankful to my previous manager, Danny Klaar and Susanna de Graaf. The thing is, if you're a member of such a working group or a technical committee or a study committee, you meet experts from all over the world whom you, in a period of 2 to 4 years, you collaborate with. You discuss content. In my specific case, I think I met some world-leading experts. I worked together with them. I don't know if people that are familiar with power system stability. So there's Professor Anjan Bose that I met. I met Professor Anna Kage, of course. I met the late Prabha Kundur. I mean, you spend some time, a couple of years with these people, and somehow it accelerates your understanding of the technical concepts in a way that's much better, much faster than if you would have to do it on your own. So I mean, within CIGRE, so I was contributing more from system operation perspective, but there are a lot of other expertise that's present in CIGRE. So environmental performance, system development, we have economics, we have cybersecurity. So at the end, what I benefited the most from, at least in terms of the opportunities, is getting access to this vast network where there's a lot of information, there is a lot of experience that you can very easily tap into and make use of it for your own projects.
Yeah, that's so interesting. And it's actually it's really amazing that you can feel that impact of accelerating your knowledge just from having these conversations with
yeah, exactly. I mean, and what you also see is that people are very eager to have this discussions with you. Even they are very busy and during the sessions, or even after, if you get in touch with them, they are very eager and to help you, to discuss things with you. And I was not expecting that in the beginning when I entered. I thought, wow, all these big, professors and industry experts, they might be very busy, not having any time to discuss things with you. But actually, the opposite was true.
Yeah, that's something I've heard too, that CIGRE like really encourages young people to get involved. And like, when a lot of young people think, oh, I need to develop my technical experience and become an expert before joining these things and contributing. But like, what you said, you learn while talking with them and you become like an expert through your discussions, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right, Simek, so I'll ask you the same question too. What opportunities has CIGRE afforded you?
Yeah, I think for me, CIGRE provided me a lot of different opportunities. So for me, like I said, I work at RTDS, so I'm a simulation engineer focusing on electromagnetic transient simulations, but more so in real time. So like in the world, there's only actually a few companies that actually do that. So me, as well as our company, has some unique, knowledge to share. So I think CIGRE has given sort of a platform for us, and for me in general, to share my knowledge. So for me, my experience, similar to Vinay, has been through working groups. So I joined my first working group in 2014. And since then, I've done several different working groups. And then my participation level has been varying depending on what I feel I can contribute. But yeah, as Vinay said, during these working groups, you're interacting with some of the world's experts on that particular topic. So there's sort of like two parts to it. There's one where me, myself, I get to contribute to these working groups, and it's a long process. It's 4 to 5 years potentially of kind of working together. So I'm putting this technical brochure. So there's a real sense of accomplishment when you're done. But likewise, maybe more beneficial to my own growth is the ability to learn from these people. And as Vinay said, they're very helpful. Like we're all kind of doing this common goal. We feel there's like there's a gap where we can provide some level of knowledge. So as much as I'm giving to, I feel I'm getting a lot more out of it. But I think kind of when I join these working groups, it also creates some more opportunities because through the working groups, then you're also kind of attending the conferences because a lot of the working group meetings are associated with conferences. So then I felt like I was going to more CIGRE events. So not only the working group meetings, but attending the full conferences. And then once these working groups are finished, a lot of these working groups set up tutorials. So not only am I putting together this brochure, but I'm also presenting the work from the working groups. So I've presented tutorials at 4 or 5 different CIGRE events, just sharing the knowledge that we got from the working group. So I too am like very grateful to my company because they allowed me to attend the events. So I'm not only contributing like virtually, but I'm actually going there and meeting all these people and networking. So I'm very grateful to RTDS. But yeah, the technical knowledge you can get from these working groups is pretty amazing. Like I've helped develop my own technical skills on various topics like HVDC control and protection, HVDC modeling, all these things I've learned a lot from just attending CIGRE events and learning from these experts in the field.
Nice. And you said you were involved in working groups 2014. So how many have you been a part of? And did you feel that you had to, did you have different roles in these working groups? Or
yeah, so I've been involved in 6 working groups, and some I've taken I've been like an official member where I'm taking sort of an active role. Some where I have just kind of joined in later because I saw there was some benefit I could provide. So for example, there was a working group on DC-DC converters where they're trying to model new DC converter models for offline simulation. So I talked to the community and said I can provide real-time models. So I made the models and provided a contribution, and they put it in the brochure. And then I was in there as sort of a contributing member. But then other times I've sort of been more of an observer because while I don't know if I have too much to contribute, but I'm very interested in the development of the working group because I think it may help in our company and determine things that we have to do to maybe support those applications. So it's kind of a varying level of degrees I've contributed into these working groups.
all right. And that's good for anyone who's thinking about going into working groups. Like you don't have to contribute a whole lot. You can even just go as an observer, learn for a little bit, and then see where you can contribute. Yeah. So Phil, do you feel that CIGRE has helped with your career development?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, so like in terms of career development, like choosing your career, improving your skills within a career, I think CIGRE has been very beneficial on both respects. So I use as a resource that if you're a CIGRE member, you have access to all the resources on eCIGRE, and it's a very invaluable tool I've found. So and it's not that expensive. So if you're a student, it's free, and if you're a working engineer, I think it's 90 Canadian dollars, and so you have access to technical reports from industry, and also technical brochures as well. So the technical reports kind of will give you ideas for where the industry is heading, and the technical brochures are a little bit more specific, so like conference papers, but more industry specific conference papers. So they might look at it, give you some details about a particular project, or so these can be very interesting and just learning more. And also, like, I was interested in potentially doing a startup at one point, and so I found having access to this information was beneficial in surveying the market, and also when you're seeing where the industry is going, we would be there if all the technologies were already available to us. So it can kind of help you identify gaps where you might want to investigate, and if you're trying to come up with like a new idea. And then just in terms of like advancing your career path, I found just building your CV is absolutely critical, and it helps you with getting new opportunities in the future. So with the Paris sponsorship and publications, things like this, it can be very helpful and kind of gives you a stamp of approval, validation, which can kind of de-risk you for other people who might be interested in kind of hiring you or kind of giving you opportunities in the future. So yeah, so those are just a few things.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And we didn't mention the publications earlier, so that's a really good point that CIGRE allows you to download these publications, access them. And that's a whole lot of knowledge in there as well. Vinay, how about you?
I think here as well, I fully agree with Phil that all these publications, they are actually, they are so, if we are doing our job in the industry and we have specific questions on certain concepts, or we need to have another view, normally what we do is we try to go for papers or mostly technical brochures that are being published in CIGRE, and we try, okay, this is being done in the US, this is being done in the UK, and that already gives us a bit of understanding what is happening outside of our own world. Now, in terms of my own career development, I think CIGRE contributed in two parts. One would be during my PhD. So I was doing my PhD while I was working, and because of my participation in CIGRE activities, I got introduced to some experts, and this benefited my PhD, because you have immediate access to these experts from industry, but also from academia, that can help you, with whom you can discuss your questions that you may have. And specifically, in my case, I was able to visit the University of Manitoba for 2 weeks on an exchange. And although this is without CIGRE, it's also possible, but with CIGRE, I think the arrangement was made within a couple of days. That yes, it is possible. You can come and visit. So this it enhances actually your in my case, the quality of my work. Now that's one side on the research. But then, more related to my day-to-day activities at TenNet, I think the extensive network that I had at a certain moment, it enabled me to benchmark whatever we were doing at TenNet with the activities that's being done by other system operators. A lot of things are for system operators in Europe. They're quite new. Some of these questions that we may have are already being tackled, for example, in Ireland, Australia, or the US. So what I did is that because of this network, I reached out to them, to the system operators in different parts of the world, and asked them, can you help us? Can we have bilateral meetings between colleagues from TenNet and colleagues from the respective system operator? And what you see is that they're very open for the discussions. You have a view of how things are being done around the world, and that immediately gives input to your own project, to your own activities. Okay, how can we do it better? What can we learn from them? And that actually at the end, it enables you to do your job better, gives you more exposure, and that can help you in your own career development.
Yeah, and you were saying that your role was with operational security and coming up with new strategies. So yeah, being on top of it by like networking with people through CIGRE, that definitely helps, right?
Yes, for sure. And I recall one of the discussions we had with the colleagues from AMO in Australia and the colleagues in Ireland, because they are pushing their renewable level limits to 60, 70%. We're not there yet. So they have seen the challenges and they can just inform us, these are some of the challenges, just take it. Make sure it's on your radar. It helps a lot.
Yeah, for sure. Samek, how about you?
Yeah, I think I'd probably say a similar sentiment of just like the vast resources that CIGRE has in terms of publications. Like, I think for me, like my role is to be a subject matter expert in a particular topic. So for me, it's HVDC, power electronics, and renewables. So CIGRE has been a huge resource because it has not only my ability to participate in working groups, but going to conferences, and then the vast library of papers and technical brochures has allowed me to kind of build that level of expertise since what I think the 8 years I've been involved in CIGRE. So that resource has been a big tool for me to gain that technical competency. And I think the other thing for me is it's not also just not technical. I think when you're involved in CIGRE, you're also developing presentation skills, communication skills, networking skills. I would say when I graduated from university, those probably weren't my strongest things. So over kind of working in industry, then kind of also kind of forcing myself to be involved in these has definitely provided some, I'd say, non-technical skills that have been very beneficial to my development as an engineer and my overall growth. Yeah, so I think those are the two main things. But I also think like CIGRE, is like a great platform for us, like for me to connect with some of our existing users as well as meet new people who could potentially use our product. These societies like CIGRE is very vital for us to find a place where a lot of the power industry are coming together, and we can, exchange information and things like that. So it's also good for business as well, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I have one more question, but maybe we can open it up to the audience first, and we'll get to that question at the end. So if anyone has questions, please send it to me, direct message, and I can ask them you can direct the question to any specific speaker you want.
Yeah, so we have one question from Annie right now, which is for Phil about the sponsorship. So how did you earn the sponsorship award? What was your journey with respect to that sponsorship?
Yeah, I'm not sure how many sponsorship awards are granted. It's one every 2 years. Is that right, or?
That's once per year.
It's once per year. Okay. So yeah, so it's once per year. Okay. Yeah, I'm just on the webpage now, but you have to be a member of CIGRE Canada, not previously attended the conference, demonstrated high-level technical ability in your area of interest. But basically, they're looking for someone who can really take advantage of the opportunity of going to the conference. So, see where you could gain a benefit from networking and attending these working group meetings, and how you could kind of bring that knowledge back to Canada. Through like influencing at the university level, or maybe it can be beneficial for your own research work. So just they're trying to give that award out to someone who could, who will, take advantage of the opportunity. So I would say that would be kind of my advice. So it's not that difficult of an application. So if you think that this might be of interest to you, definitely check it out. It's if you can search it on a Google search, and it's only a few page application. So it's definitely worth giving a shot, I think.
Yeah, so basically when you're answering those questions, just highlighting like how it will benefit you and your university or your industry somehow, right?
Yeah, exactly. And just how your previous background is kind of relevant, and you can build upon that through going to this conference.
Yeah. And I'm sure like your previous experience with CIGRE also helps. So like if people are interested in attending CIGRE Canada coming up or something like that, that would be nice to say that you've been involved with CIGRE as well, right?
Yeah, I think that's critical. Yeah.
Yeah. And Curtis, I think the application will be coming probably in June, right? For those who want to sign up for the sponsorship program.
Yeah, there'll be another one opening soon. So details are always going to be added on our LinkedIn close to the date. So good time to plug that. If people aren't already on the LinkedIn group, I'll put that into the chat.
Yeah, and the other thing I would mention too is that I would imagine if you're already working, your company would probably be very interested in you attending something like this. It could be a benefit to them too, and so I wouldn't worry about kind of asking them for the time off to do something like this. So.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Phil. Yeah. I didn't get any direct message questions. Curtis, did you get anything?
No, so maybe continue with
Sure.
your follow-up question, and if anyone has questions for our panelist or for a particular panelist, then feel free to type those into the chat.
Yeah. Okay, and so I'll start again with Phil. I'll do the same order just to keep it consistent. So what advice would you give to someone who's starting their career or an NGN looking to get involved?
Okay. I can give more career-specific advice, and maybe with regards to academics a little bit. Well, I would say information is king. Is king. So the CIGRE, just being aware of that, and I think that's something to keep in mind. Also, just taking advantage of opportunities and that come to you. And if it may, and also applying for scholarships. Maybe you don't think you don't have a great chance, or many people might be applying for these. You might be surprised, and it's definitely worth giving it a shot. And then I would just say, like, early on in your career, I'd be just careful about what opportunities you say yes to, like in terms of, what kind of jobs you go for, because your future opportunities kind of build on your current and previous work experiences. So, and as you get further along in your career, it can be harder to pivot. So, so I would just keep in mind of that. It's definitely possible to pivot, but it just gets more difficult. And when you've already built like a solid basis of knowledge, like you want to, it's beneficial to stay and kind of leverage that, right? And the other thing I would just say with regards to academics, I think in the power systems field, master's is very valuable generally. I found it very helpful. And in Canada, I think for most of the power systems type of positions, master's is definitely adequate. And also, I found it's been helpful for me to kind of go back to school to change my career path a bit. So I was working in the UK and doing an interesting job, but I was looking for kind of a different line of work, more working for an inverter manufacturer on the power electronics side. And I thought kind of going back to school and doing my PhD in that area would enable me to kind of get to the ideal career path for myself. And so academics is a good way to pivot in your career early on, especially.
Yeah, that's great. I think I love how you said that you have to be mindful of choices that you make because of the impacts that can have. And it's true, once you're once you've said yes to something that maybe wasn't a right fit, then you're going through with that, and maybe it's not providing you the opportunities that you actually expected or wanted for your career growth. So yeah, being mindful of what you sign yourself up for is really good. And like what you did, kind of reflecting and changing path and kind of recentering where you want to go. So that's awesome. Did you have anything else to say, Phil?
No, I have a few more things, but I think that's okay. Yeah.
Oh no, that's fine. You can go ahead. I did notice I cut you off, so I was like, I was waiting. I thought you were done. So.
No, it's fine. Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. How about Vinay?
I love the part where Phil said that you need to be mindful, and I will just take that one step further. What at least from my perspective is very important. I mean, it is a very exciting time to be in this industry, right? This whole energy transition is creating a lot of opportunities. So I think if you're still studying, rest assured, I think there'll be plenty of opportunities to get a nice job. Be mindful, as Phil said, but also what I found very helpful is that it at least what helped me is creating my own personal framework of what success is, what defines success for me. For certain people, it may mean being a top technical expert. For others, it means being a manager. For others, it means, I mean, it can mean whatever. What is very important for me is that I have sufficient time next to being an expert, but having sufficient time to do whatever I like to do next to my work, right? Spend time with family and everything else. So there will be plenty of job opportunities, and make sure you have your own framework on how you're going to assess whether or not a certain job opportunity is fitting you. And don't be influenced by the societal definition of success. Just create your own and evaluate any job opportunity you get against that framework. Now, that's the general advice I would give on career. But in terms of NGN participation, I think what is important here is that as an NGN member, please don't feel discouraged if you don't have enough experience yet. Because if you look to participate in working groups, because if you look at how CIGRE working groups and nominations from members are designed, is that each country normally can nominate one member, a regular member or an observer member, plus one NGN member. And the whole goal is that this NGN member is then in this pool of experts, they get the opportunity to grow. What I did in my first working group is I took the type of responsibility of doing literature review, things that I know I could do without having the top expert knowledge about the topic. And I think that helps. You can still engage in discussions with the experts while still giving a valuable contribution. So I would say don't let that hold you back. If you can participate as an NGN member, please do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really good. And you also had the experience of being a secretary for a study committee, right? For that, did you have to have some working group experience first?
No,
or
no.
what?
Generally, if you look at the other secretaries in CIGRE at least on study committee level, right? They have plenty of experience within CIGRE. The reason I joined immediately in that position is that one of my colleagues was becoming the chair, and of course she needed the secretarial support, and I was available for it. Of course, I'm very grateful for that, but normally this is not the way of becoming a technical secretary for a study committee.
Right. Yeah. So you'd probably be involved in that study committee's working groups for a little bit. And
Exactly.
I see. Okay. Thanks, Vinay. So how about you, Samek? What advice would you give to young engineers?
I think for me, like when I was just graduated from university, my whole thing was just try to gain as much knowledge as I could. So try to be like a very active learner. So try to find the resources that you can to build up. So like, in my first year of working here, I kind of know what kind of area I wanted to be in into the within my organization. So kind of find places where I can build up that competency, whether it was, you know, just reading articles online, reading articles on LinkedIn, kind of understand the market. But then coming back to CIGRE, CIGRE has been a great resource to try to build that expertise. I think you know, there's different paths you can go into your career, whether it's like very, very technical or management and all that stuff. But I think, you know, as an engineer, I think early on it is good to sort of at the start develop that technical expertise, because I think it can be very valuable in industry. I know for me, it's helped me kind of advance into my career to be that technical expert. But then it's also led to, you know, supervisor or management leadership roles as well. So I would just say from like a general thing, it's always be eager to learn. And I would say kind of see in your own organization how they're involved in CIGRE, and if they're not, try to make a case why it's beneficial. You know, I can there's any type of industry, whether you're a manufacturer, a utility, a consultant, or a researcher, there's benefits, and there are very clear benefits of joining CIGRE. So even if your company is not very active, try to make a case on why you'd benefit to even just going to one conference and trying to learn. And kind of also, I was going to point, I think Vinay already covered it, is, you know, yeah, don't be afraid to join a working group, because it can be intimidating, because you are, like, thing is, like, there is a topic where probably the most knowledgeable people in the world are part of it. So it can be intimidating. I was quite intimidated in my first one. But as Vinay said, there are roles you can take within the group that can, you know, that can fit with what you want. So like he said, literature review, but even one of the biggest jobs of a working group is to format the brochure. It's a very important job. And if that's something you could provide, it's very valuable. And then just being part of that working group for 4 to 5 years, you're going to get so much out of it. So I would, like I said, encourage that involvement in the work group. And maybe outside of CIGRE, just, you know, kind of take advantage of the technical expertise within your own company. You know, maybe whether it's through finding a mentor or something like that. You know, I found very early working at RTDS that because we're pretty niche thing that we work on, real-time simulation, I kind of discovered like the most knowledgeable people in the world in my topic work in the office that I work. So I said I should take advantage of this. So just asking a lot of questions, kind of sitting down with them, trying to understand, you know, certain things of our business and our company. So within like the first 3 or 4 years, I've gained so much experience just, you know, taking advantage of the smart people in my own company. So yeah, that just kind of goes back to just kind of be an active and eager learner. So I would recommend just, you know, like he said, Vinay said, being a engineer or a power system engineer is actually really exciting right now. The whole power system is sort of modernizing, and it's an exciting career to be in right now. So yeah, that's the advice I give.
Yeah, and I think that's like, it's good to inquire about whether your company already has a membership with CIGRE. Maybe you don't know about it, but if you ask and show interest, then there's opportunity there for you to go and attend things. And even some universities also have membership with CIGRE. So if you're a student, you can look into that as well and see if your university is a member, and if you can have opportunities to attend conferences and have access to papers and everything too through that. So there's a few more questions from the audience, so I'll ask those. Okay, first of all, Kasun from the committee has shared the old sponsorship application. For those who are interested, you can look at that link. And Annie has asked, what kind of technical skills did you develop during your involvement in working groups, and any advice for undergraduate engineering students? Okay, this sort of got covered. Does anybody want to add anything about the technical skills you gained when you were in working groups?
I could just say that, yeah, because like specifically I'm joining working groups for a specific topic that I'm interested in, especially early on in my involvement. If we're going to specifics, I think my first working group was on developing HVDC grid models. So this was part of B457 when they were developing test systems. So part of my job was in RTS is to develop these HVDC models. So being part of that working group, I was able to gain so much knowledge on HVDC controls, protection, MMC modeling, MMC theory. Just being connected to that working group, I've gained a lot of technical knowledge in there. So yeah, I guess so. It's I mean, it's a very technical. These brochures are very technical, so there's a lot to gain from them.
Yeah, and you also developed a model for the working group. So you probably learned a lot through developing that too, I assume.
Yeah, and then it kind of helped because it's part of our old software now. So it's systems that we give out to our customers. They use that as a base system where they can do hardware in the loop testing and develop new protection and control theories. So it's good to see the work that was done in the brochure or in the working group is now trickled into industry, and I see a lot of people all over the world using these models that I built. So it's also that sense of accomplishment kind of coming back.
That's awesome. So we have another question from Annie. What is a study committee? We actually talked about working groups a lot, and then for Vinay's bio, we mentioned the study committee involvement, but we didn't go into what a study committee is and how does participation in a study committee look like. Yeah.
So if you look at the organization of CIGRE, there is a technical council which essentially decides what are the key topics, the strategic topics that the organization should focus on in terms of working groups, in terms of tutorials, and determining what would be the strategy for the next 4 to 5 years. Now, in order to implement this strategy, CIGRE has 16 working groups and 16 study committees. A study committee essentially is a working body of CIGRE which deals with one specific overarching topic, to call it like that. So out of these 16 study committees, there are 4 main groups. One of them deals with equipment. So we have transformers, we have rotating machines. Then we have another group that deals with, I think it's called, I forgot the name, but I mean you have substations in there, you have HVDC systems in there, and then there's a third group, which is I think the largest, which is on systems. So you have everything that deals with system development, system economics, environment, system operation, that falls under that, and then we have one on IT and telecommunication. So these 4 blocks, they consist in total of 16 study committees, and in each study committee you have 24 representatives of 24 different countries. And essentially what each study committee then is doing, it looks at the strategy of the technical council, and it defines its own activities for the next 4 to 5 years, which comes down to what are the type of working groups that we will be having, what are the type of conferences that we will be organizing, what are the type of involvement outside of CIGRE that we will be engaging in. So the study committee essentially, it is implementing the strategy of the technical council. And how does participation in a study committee look like? Well, normally there are 1 or 2 meetings per year, where first of all there are a lot of updates on each of the working groups, the activities that they are doing, but also looking at where can we help each other. It's a technical discussion about how certain parts of the future may look like. For example, in system operations, we have been looking at what would be the challenges of considering the whole. I mean, all the system operators in the world. We're looking at what are the technical challenges if we look at the energy transition. So we define that, and again, that gives an input to the own study committee, but also to CIGRE as a whole, of what would be the focus areas. Does that answer the question a bit?
I think it does, yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, I think just if you're participating in a working group, you're internally then also participating within that study committee, right? So like I said, before is a study committee, and within there's several working groups, active working groups going right now. So that's if you're seeing a way that you could participate in a study committee, one way is through a working group. I've been to a couple study committee meetings at Paris, as well as every study committee usually has like a big meeting every 2 years, where it's essentially a big conference where working groups will meet to discuss active groups, presentations, and then the council of the study committee will get together. And like Renee said, they're talking about things on like a higher scale, like the next 4 to 5 years, how they want to, what direction they want to go to. So yeah.
Yeah, nice. So okay, and there's one more question. What is a challenge you have faced while trying to expand your technical horizon in the power sector? Any challenges? Who wants to go first on that one?
I think for me, because like there's a lot of IP in power systems. So for us, when we're in a modeling, like we're trying to develop models, trying to get access to say vendor specific information is very difficult. We have a little advantage since we're sort of not in like a vendor, we're a manufacturer. Sometimes we get access to some information through NDAs, but we're trying to understand, there's right now in real time, there's this trying to understand getting vendor black box models into a real time platform. It's a little bit difficult. So right now, like it's pretty clear that generic models aren't good enough. So trying to get access to that information and understanding how these vendors are doing what they do, it's always been something that's we always hit a roadblock because eventually they can't give you all the information. So that's been one thing for me. I felt that's always been something that kind of been a little bit of a roadblock, trying to understand some of the vendor specific stuff.
Yeah, with all the, they can't share all their information.
Yeah.
So yeah, I understand that. Yeah.
But how do you deal with it, Sumik?
Well, the way the vendors provide their black box models is through of shared libraries, so DLL files, lib files. But the challenge is that we can't run those in RTDS because we don't run an operating system. So we're looking at ways to essentially run, Windows in real time. There's tools out there that we've been working on to see ways to run controller code on a Windows platform, which is not a real-time system, and trying to run it more deterministically. And we've had some success stories, but it comes with a lot of capabilities, but also a lot of limitations. So we're in the process of learning different ways to do this. But that's been one of the main things I've actually been working on during COVID, actually. The last couple of years, it's been one of my main projects I've been working on.
How about you, Vinay? Any challenges that you've experienced?
I think from the operational perspective, one of the main things is that we know that the power system is changing, but we don't know how it will, what the behavior of that new system will be. So even discussing with all these colleague system operators throughout the world, you see the same feeling that although some of them are a bit more experienced, you see that we know we're going to 80% renewable energy, but yeah, we don't know how we should prepare. You can prepare to a certain extent based on the phenomena you already know, so voltage stability, frequency stability, type of things. There are new things coming. I know a couple of years ago when we were integrating a wind farm in HVDC wind farm in Tenet in the German grid, we had this resonance instability happening. Never happened before in power systems. Then it happened, and then you said, okay, how should I deal with it? And we have seen that these type of new phenomena that were not observed before, they are coming much more frequent, and we don't know how should we anticipate on them in order to make sure that they don't happen. That is one of the main challenges from operation perspective.
Yeah, definitely. And the grid is getting weaker, and so you're trying to create some stability, but things are only getting weaker. Yeah, definitely. It's definitely easier said than done, isn't it?
Of course, of course.
Phil, how about you?
Yeah, I would just say like one thing that I learned while working in industry especially like I was working in the HVDC field, and I found introducing new technology to be it's a significant challenge, and it's also very slow. So while like especially in academia, there's all these new converters and new control approaches, very few of those actually get implemented oh, can you hear me?
Yeah.
You can. Okay. So I would just say, that was interesting for me, and like reliability, speed of deployment, kind of favor kind of old technologies, old ways of doing things. And so the rollout of kind of new technologies, new power converters is slow, and so there's like a balance of introducing improvements with kind of maintaining reliability, and things that you have a long track record of kind of producing. Yeah, so that's just one thing that I noticed in the industry.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Yeah, especially there's so many, so much research going on, but in terms of what actually gets implemented, yeah, it's, you could do all your research, but someone has to approve this to get implemented in the real world. So yeah, like I think actually doing things like, how you did your poster presentation and, presenting these ideas in conferences where there's lots of industry people, it's actually really good. So now it's around, it's almost the hour. So we can probably go into the networking session. Maybe before we go, is there any closing remarks that anybody wants to sort of leave off with, or have we covered everything? Covered everything? Okay.
Okay.
No, but yes, CIGRE is it's a great society. Like I highly recommend. I think for me, it's I like that it's very centered towards industry. So like a lot of the conferences are sharing real events, like real projects, real events, because like everyone's doing their own thing in their own country, and it's a great platform to share your experience, so everyone can learn and then incorporate that into their own country.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fun, to be honest. You
Yeah.
get to travel, you get to see places, you get to meet people. It's quite fun.
Yeah. I think that's why I think going back to being grateful for RTDS for letting me provide the financial support to attend events and attend working groups. I mean, you can also contribute virtually. That's fine too. You can provide very good contributions virtually, but as Vinay said, it's just more fun doing it in person.
Yeah.
You get to know the people a bit more, and it'll kind of build relationships that will last, beyond the working group.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. That's an important part too. It's not just about the technical stuff, but you have to have fun, and that increases your interest, and then it keeps going.
And I just maybe like for me, I think one nice thing about CIGRE going to the conferences is the technical tours. For me personally, I think as a simulation engineer, most of the time the power system is just a software model. So going out to CIGRE conferences usually set up technical visits. So through CIGRE, I've visited HVDC converter sites, generating sites. There was one conference where they were a technical tour to a wind plant. So there's all these abilities to see, to see actually how large a wind turbine is. It's quite amazing. Yeah, so that's another, I think, cool thing. Like once again, how it's kind of fun to be part of these CIGRE events and things like that.
Yeah, that sounds really great. So now let's see how many people we have today. So I don't think we need to break out into breakout rooms for the networking. We can just all be in the same room. If you feel comfortable, you can put your video on so we can all see you, and unmute your mics. Curtis, is that?
Yeah, first I'll just thank our presenters today for joining us on this webinar. And I think the main takeaway for me is that we have great young generation, we have great worldwide collaboration, and despite the challenges that we'll be facing as an industry, we have the next generation ready to meet those challenges head on. So I'm going to end the